For anyone working in the Australian racing and breeding industry, it's quite apparent that there are plenty of young people coming through who share our passion for the thoroughbred. One such individual is young UK rider Alice Homer, who came out recently to Australia, worked as a steward at the Sydney Royal Easter Show and through the yearling sales season. She has some great links, her whole family does in fact, to the Bennett family, including Merv Bennett, a famous Australian Olympian on thoroughbreds, and the story even involves King Charles.
And in the red and white colours, it is free of charge, Gina Andrews. And in the silver and navy blue on the near side, it's Alice Homer and Agamemnon.
Alice, it's been fabulous to have you back in Australia again. Of course, a couple of years ago, yourself, your mother, Lorraine, judged some of the classes at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. But tell us about what you've been doing today as a steward.
Yeah, so I've been stewarding today in both the Thoroughbreds and the Crane and Pope Cup, and it's been an amazing experience to be back here, seeing it from a different side. We've been helping out all the competitors, making sure their horses keep calm and have a good experience in the ring. We've been helping the judge make sure that they're happy with the decisions they make and that the classes run smoothly. So yeah, it's been a great day.
And your history, of course, you've ridden as a jockey in point to points over in the UK. Tell us about that, because obviously that's developed a real love of thoroughbreds for you.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago I was really lucky to have a couple of winners in point to pointing, which is UK amateur jumps racing. And it was just a thrill that you cannot match with anything else. We actually rehome ex-thoroughbreds in England, and we take them team chasing, which is a team of 4 competing over a distance between 2 and 3 miles over rustic type fences, and the fastest team wins. So anybody with a thoroughbred which has got a mind that needs keeping occupied, team chasing is a great option for them.
It stretches back even further, doesn't it? Your grandfather David and the wonderful Merv Bennett, who's an Australian Olympian. We know, of course, the father of John Bennett, who's the president of the Royal Show Society here in Sydney. David and Merv used to go team chasing together with grandfather, with King Charles. It's obviously a really big part of the British equestrian scene.
Yeah, it's huge, it's huge. It's actually great that the tradition's been able to carry on and to be able to continue to have the thoroughbreds to do such an amazing sport. But yeah, so when Mervyn came over for the Atlanta Olympics, he actually had to quarantine in the UK and quarantined just down the road from my grandfather, and they've started a lifelong friendship from that. So yeah, he joined the team and got to have a couple of spins team chasing in the UK, also along with, I don't know if they were at the same time, but yeah, King Charles was also in the team with my grandfather, and I know there was no favours done. If you didn't have the horse and you couldn't keep up, you weren't making the team.
Oh, that's brilliant. And also, of course, your brother is now out here, Harry, and your boyfriend, Zach. It's great to see that your generation now, you've been working in the thoroughbred industry for some time. We've seen you leading horses through the English Classic sale and up at Magic Millions. Tell us about some of the work you've been doing in particular while you've been in Australia in the most recent months.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, having a small connection to thoroughbreds over in the UK, and then to be able to develop on that being here in the vast industry that they have here in thoroughbreds, it's been great. We've tried to do a little bit of everything. So actually down with the Bennetts, down in Nowra, they have a couple of thoroughbreds that we've been training for them, riding their work for them. So they've been going to the races. We've broken in 2 homebred fillies that they've got. And then we've also travelled all around Australia with it. So yeah, as you said, we went up to the Gold Coast, worked Magic Millions, and then back down to the English Classic sales. I've also been up in Scone, working for both Blair Richardson and Lewis Page, doing some of their yearling breakers for a couple of weeks, which was a great experience to see some of the horses that I'd seen go through the ring at the sales to then have a saddle on and get their career started.
You obviously have this love for the thoroughbreds that so many people obviously do, but what is it that you see about transferring them? Because obviously in the UK there's the whole program there which is really advanced because people in the UK really care about this. In Australia it's taken a little bit longer to kind of gel. What do you say about what we could be doing in Australia to make that transition a bit more sort of obvious, I guess, for owners?
Well, actually, one thing I think which is great about the UK retraining of racehorses scene is that we actually have two societies. So one that runs based on the premise that a racehorse to riding horse must be a show horse and that they are judged on all of their show horse qualities. But we also actually have another society which takes the thoroughbred based on all of the sort of nicks and cuts and knocks that might come with being a thoroughbred and actually decides that they're going to forget about them in the ring. So that's been a really good initiative for people to be able to take horses that they might think, oh, they're not going to do any good in the show ring, but actually with these classes, they're still able to put their horses in them, so that's been really great.
You'd say, even though at a fairly young age, you're pretty much an expert in dealing with them. You've ridden them over the jumps, you've prepared them as yearlings, you're breaking them in now. What is it that you think are the best attributes of a thoroughbred? If you're trying to get someone in the equestrian world to take on a thoroughbred, how do you sell them?
I mean, they just have such a versatile temperament. You know, even the horses that might be a little bit quirky or might show tendencies to get a bit hot, they all just have a great heart. And I think if you can use that to the best of their abilities, then you can really train them to whatever you want. As I said, you know, we have eventing, we have dressage, we have cross country, we have, you know, all sorts of different disciplines for whatever suits your horse. And I think the thoroughbred, if you can really pick out the qualities that your specific thoroughbred has, you can put him in the right direction to excel and achieve anything.
And globally, I mean, we talk about this being a big issue for the racing industry. You know, we have the International Federation for the Aftercare of Racehorses. Do you think, you know, there's enough being done to sort of collaborate globally to really find more thoroughbreds the best homes?
I mean, I think they're just going to struggle always, just, you know, the sheer amount of thoroughbreds that are being bred into the industry. So I think it's just, you know, trying to tell everybody, you know, that having a thoroughbred is not a bad or a scary thing. And, you know, I think we have a lot of people put adverts up for wanted horses and they put no thoroughbreds. But they don't know that, you know, you still are in the ring today. There's thoroughbreds and they're stood there in the biggest atmosphere that the warm bloods are not coping with, that the thoroughbreds are just taking it on, you know, taking it in their stride completely fine. So I think it's just getting the awareness out that thoroughbreds can have that calm, wonderful nature.
So you've done all of the above, as we've said. So what do you see for yourself for Alice in the next 5 years or so working with thoroughbreds? Are we going to keep another UK person here in Australia?
I'm not sure. I've got to go home after the show because I've got my own show horses to do this season. We have Royal Windsor Horse Show coming up soon. But definitely for me, being out here this year, I've actually not competed myself a racehorse off the track, and I would really love to get into doing that at home, trying to find some really nice racehorses that have come off the track and just need a bit of time, maybe put them out in a paddock for a year or so and then try and bring them out and compete them myself. I think that would be great.